Lena had never imagined she'd find herself in this position. As a single mother, her life revolved around her 6-year-old son, Jamie. She worked at a law firm as an administrative assistant, managing schedules, filing paperwork, and answering calls. It wasn't her dream job, but it provided for Jamie and gave her a sense of stability after her divorce. Every day was a balancing act: work, motherhood, and trying to keep up with the demands of life. The firm had a strict no-children policy. They had implemented it years ago when employees started bringing their kids into the office. Lena understood the rule, but today was different. Her usual babysitter had called in sick, and there was no one else she trusted to look after Jamie. He had a school project due, and there was no way she could leave him alone at home. So, with a heavy heart and a hint of rebellion, Lena brought Jamie to work. She made sure he was quiet, sitting in the corner with his tablet, working on his project. She promised him he could have a snack if he stayed out of the way. But it wasn't long before things took a turn. At 10 a.m., her boss, Mr. Lawson, a stern man in his 50s, walked into the office. His eyes immediately darted to Jamie, who was sitting cross-legged on the floor, engrossed in his tablet. "Lena!" Mr. Lawson's voice was sharp. "What's going on here? We've talked about this before. Children are not allowed in the office. You know the policy." Lena's heart sank. "I'm sorry, Mr. Lawson. My babysitter canceled, and I didn't have a choice. I promise he won't be a distraction." Mr. Lawson shook his head. "That's beside the point. We can't make exceptions. I'm afraid I'll have to let you go." Lena felt the world tilt beneath her feet. "Please, Mr. Lawson, I understand the rules, but I'm a single mother. I have no one else to help me with him." He didn't soften. "I'm sorry, Lena, I really am. But the policy is clear." As Mr. Lawson turned to leave, Lena's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't believe it. The weight of it all, the long hours, the late nights, the struggles of being a single mother, crashed down on her. But just as he reached the door, a voice rang out. "Wait!" Lena's head shot up in surprise. Standing in the doorway was a woman in her early 30s, wearing a sharp suit and a warm, understanding smile. "I'm sorry, am I interrupting something?" she asked, looking between Lena and Mr. Lawson. Mr. Lawson's face tightened, but he looked at the woman with a hint of recognition. "Ah, Ms. Carter, I didn't realize you were here." Ms. Carter smiled again, her eyes shifting to Jamie, who was still quietly working in the corner. "I hope I'm not intruding. I'm the new CEO and I've been meeting with the team, but I overheard part of this conversation and I have to say I'm curious." Lena's heart raced and Mr. Lawson, sensing trouble, straightened. "Miss Carter, this is a matter of company policy. It's not something we can overlook." Ms. Carter's gaze softened and she took a few steps toward Lena, her eyes on the boy in the corner. "I understand. But you see," she paused, her voice gentle, "I was that kid once, the one who sat in the corner while my mom worked." Lena blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Ms. Carter continued, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "My mother was a single mom, too. She worked here when I was Jamie's age. I spent countless hours in this office, coloring, reading, and doing homework while she worked. People were always frustrated with her, but she never gave up on me. She did everything she could to make sure I had what I needed, and she taught me something that stuck with me. A mother's love can't be measured by hours in an office, but by the sacrifices she makes for her child." Lena's breath caught in her throat. The CEO of the company was speaking to her like this? It was as if the universe had sent her this woman, who understood the struggles of being a mother in a world that often made it impossible to juggle both work and family. Ms. Carter turned back to Mr. Lawson, her expression firm. "I understand company policies, but this is a different situation. We're not dealing with an employee who's trying to bend the rules. She's trying to do what's best for her child. I suggest we find a solution that works for everyone." Mr. Lawson hesitated, clearly caught off guard by the new CEO's empathy. "But, Ms. Carter—" "No buts," she interrupted. "I'll be taking care of this. Lena, don't worry about it. You're not fired." Lena's eyes widened. "Wait, what? You're serious?" Ms. Carter nodded. "Yes. You're doing something many others wouldn't understand. But I do. You'll be staying right where you are, and we'll figure out a way to make this work." Lena could hardly believe it. "Thank you. You have no idea what this means to me." Ms. Carter smiled warmly. "I know exactly what it means. Now, why don't you finish up that work, Lena, and I'll get to know Jamie. I'm sure we can come up with something that makes him feel more at home in the office." The next few days were a whirlwind for Lena. Her entire life had shifted in an instant, and she was still trying to wrap her head around it. Ms. Carter's intervention had made all the difference. Instead of being fired, Lena had been given a special arrangement where she could bring Jamie to work without fear of breaking any rules. Ms. Carter had made a point to show her compassion, creating a new work environment that was more flexible for parents like Lena. As the days passed, Jamie began to adapt to his new surroundings. Ms. Carter even set up a small space for him in the office, a corner with a desk, books, and toys, where he could focus on his schoolwork while Lena worked nearby. It was a far cry from the cold, impersonal corners of the office where she had once been relegated. She could now glance over and see Jamie happily immersed in his little world, safe and secure while she worked. Lena couldn't help but notice the shift in her own outlook. There was a sense of relief she hadn't felt in years. With the new flexibility, Lena's work life was no longer a constant source of anxiety. She found herself doing her job with more energy, more focus, and more joy. She didn't have to rush through each task, worried that Jamie might feel neglected or unsafe. Ms. Carter had not only given her a second chance at her career, but had also restored a sense of balance in her life. One morning, as Lena walked into the office, she was greeted with a note on her desk. It read, "Lena, thank you for showing me what it truly means to be a dedicated mother. I've been thinking about your situation, and I've decided that we're going to implement a new program at the company. It will allow working parents like you to bring their children in when necessary. You've inspired me to make a real difference. Let's talk soon." Lena read the note twice, unable to believe what she was reading. Ms. Carter had not only understood her struggle, but had taken steps to ensure no other parent would have to choose between work and their child in such an agonizing way. This wasn't just about Lena keeping her job. It was about making a change that would help other parents too. Her courage had sparked a transformation at the very heart of her workplace. Her thoughts were interrupted when Jamie bounded up to her, his face beaming with pride. "Look, Mommy, I finished my project," he announced, holding up his school assignment. It was clear that he felt like part of the office, too. The transformation wasn't just in Lena. It was in Jamie as well. He had begun to feel a sense of belonging and comfort at the office, no longer seeing it as a cold place where his mom had to work, but as a place where both of them could thrive. Lena couldn't help but smile as she bent down to kiss his forehead. "Great job, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you." Later that day, Lena met with Ms. Carter in her office. "I can't believe what you've done for me, Ms. Carter. You've changed everything. You've not only helped me keep my job, but you've made this a place where I feel valued, where Jamie feels valued." Ms. Carter leaned back in her chair, her smile softening. "You've shown me that sometimes the best decisions are the ones made with heart. This company is about supporting its people, and that means supporting their families too. You've made a difference, Lena. You and Jamie." In the days that followed, the new family-friendly program was rolled out, and more employees started to bring their children into work. It was a small change, but a powerful one. Lena wasn't the only one who benefited from the shift in the office culture. The program allowed employees to focus on their jobs without the constant worry of child care, and it created a more compassionate, understanding atmosphere in the office. Lena's life had transformed. She wasn't just a mother trying to make it through the day. She was a valued employee, a role model for other parents, and a woman who had found balance in a world that didn't often allow it. She realized that her story was no longer just about surviving. It was about thriving. And as Lena looked at Jamie, who was now happily coloring in his new office corner, she knew one thing for sure. Her story wasn't just her own anymore. It was a story of compassion, change, and hope, one that would inspire others for years to come.